Yeah, my name is Peter Cox. I'm a freelance film editor, documentary film editor. I'm a member of BECTU. I played a very junior part in the production of this report 40 years ago. I was not a big player in it, but things have changed over the years, and now it has fallen to me, 40 years on, to try and bring these ideas and to put these ideas forward. And I support anybody who reads this report and picks up the ideas. I recommend read it, study it, and pick up the ideas and develop the ideas yourselves. We live in a globalized world. Everything is globalized. The media is globalized. It's referred to as the global village, which is an expression which sounds very innocent. But media is a very important part of social control. And the big struggle is, as it has been for many decades, but it is never spoken about, is which class should control it. Should the bourgeois class control it, or should the working class control it? And so workers' ownership, the struggle for workers' ownership and control is very relevant. The central point of the policy was because the film industry was in crisis in the early 1970s. The new wave of the British film industry in the 1960s was financed by American money. And when the dollar crisis in 1971, the money went away and the film industry was in crisis. Studios were closing down and something had to be done. Many members of the union ACTT participated in it, but it was led by members and supporters of a revolutionary Marxist organisation called, at the time, the Socialist Labour League. And they had been attracted to that organisation out of the great upheavals, the social and political upheavals in the end of the 1960s. And they addressed the problem of the film industry with this revolutionary Marxist perspective. The people who pushed it were the members and supporters of the Socialist Labour League, but they set up they moved a policy in the union itself, in the annual conference in 1971, and the policy was repeated at the Trades Union Congress in 1971 that the film industry should be nationalised without compensation and under workers' control. Having got those policies, they then set up a forum within the union to which everybody was invited. And many did come. Of course, the right wing also came, and they tried to sabotage and delay the process. But they weren't successful, and the report, the nationalisation report, was published in 1973. It's a very simple argument that the simple argument is workers' ownership and control of industry, of all industry, including the film industry, because capitalism cannot develop industries. It only gives us an appearance of developing it in a period of expansion. But expansion and growth comes to an end. And growth did come to an end in 1971. And then it turns into its opposite. It then destroys industry. And the film industry was being destroyed. Film studios were the bulldozers came and destroyed film studios. It was a perspective that should appeal to all workers in the film industry, from writers, producers, directors, the creative people, down to everybody, people who sweep the stage. It is the workers who should control the industry, and not big business and finance and big capital. That was the main argument of the policy. Regarding the Labour Party, we have a lot of experience of the Labour Party making all sorts of promises before an election and then breaking those promises. The policy was not aimed directly at the Labour Party. But it should expose the Labour Party. If this demand was placed in front of the Labour Party, it should expose them as being on the side of big business and not being on the side of the workers, which has been the case ever since. The state was against it. And what happened in the union, the state had an agent provocateur within the union who came up with a very naive and stupid syndicalist policy to try and rescue the film studios. They tried to ban all filming unless it was done in the studios, which is a completely hopeless and syndicalist and naive and stupid policy. But nevertheless, that policy allowed the right wing of the union to organise a very big coup, a right-wing coup in the union, and the effect of that was to silence those who had produced the nationalisation report and to bury the report. There was no opinion, there was indifference. There was either indifference or hostility. After the right-wing coup in the union, the report was buried, and it stayed buried for nearly 40 years. The people who produced the report and the report itself was buried. Although the people who did the report did ask for a big discussion, a wide discussion in the union about the issues, the crisis in the industry. That didn't happen. There was no discussion, there was a coup. This report was taken out of its grave in 2010, largely thanks to my efforts, personally, because I had kept a copy for all those years, and I think that the report was valid at the time, at the crisis in the 1970s, and it's valid today, because although the film industry is very busy today, I think it is in a crisis, because the British film industry is taking a large amount of work from Hollywood in what is called inward investment. The indigenous film industry, which is, as the report says, is of a people, a community, speaking about itself, expressing itself. This is in crisis, and has been in crisis for many years. And the ideas behind the nationalisation report, in my opinion, are still valid today. So it was quite a long struggle, but I managed to persuade the union to put the report on the website, although they will not adopt it as a policy, partly because it's 40 years old, and partly because, well, they don't want to adopt it as a policy. The purpose of publishing the report now is to bring out the ideas and the philosophy behind it, the ideas of workers' ownership and control of industry, public service, public ownership, public control. These are ideas which are not expressed in mainstream politics. It's a good time to bring these ideas out, because these ideas have been buried for a long time, and these ideas must be brought to life again, because the film and TV industry is a very important part of bourgeois control and ownership of society. And I think many people realise this. They realise how biased the media is. And workers' ownership and workers' control is very, very relevant today. And the struggle for it is very, very relevant today.